Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my studio. I'm Micki, and this is Gentle Yoga, Sunday morning Gentle Yoga. So let's go ahead and start out on our backs. If you have any props, you can bring those along with you if you'd like. I have blocks and a strap, but you don't have to use any props. So if you don't have any, don't worry about that. And then we'll come into what's called constructive rest pose. So you can come onto your back and allow your knees to tent together. And you can walk your feet as wide as your mat and just allow your spine to cascade down onto the earth. You might take a nice deep breath and sigh through the mouth. Feel free to make it an audible sigh if that feels good for you. And we're coming to the end of September, and so towards the end of September, I guess. And so I have a theme for today's class, and the theme is from the Yamas and the Niyamas. So I have this book by Deborah Adele. And the theme for today's class is called Svadhyaya, which means self-study. I'll just start us out with a quote from her book. She says, Svadhyaya, or self-study, is about knowing our true identity as divine and understanding the boxes we are wrapped in. The path of growth is not a straight line. It does not look like anything like what we think it will look like. In fact, often our belief system about what growth looks like is the very thing that stops our growth. What we think we know stops our inquiry. The Buddhists remind us to have a beginner's mind, to know that we don't know. It is this stance of humility that opens the door to learning and revelation. So if this idea of Svadhyaya speaks to you and you'd like to set it as an intention for your practice, you can choose that or any other intention that brought you here today. And then go ahead and allow that intention to plant itself at your heart center. And you might notice it like a glowing seed. Just allow that seed of intention to glow and grow throughout your body with each inhale. You might notice the bits of your spine that are rooted into the ground, and just notice yourself feeling supported and nourished in this moment. And then we'll invite some movement into the hips, so you can allow the knees to fall over to the left. Your right knee might fall down towards your left foot. And then maybe you turn the gaze gently over towards the right. On the next inhale, you can float the knees back up to center, and exhale, allow them to fall over to the left or the right this time. And you can turn your gaze over to the left. Feel free to take a few rounds like this. Following the pace of your own breath. And just as a reminder today, I'm going to offer a lot of options for you, and you might just come back to that idea of Svadhyaya, self-study. Just allow yourself to explore at your own pace. It's okay to try something different than what I'm doing. You can go ahead and take one more nice deep breath on each side. And then the next time your knees fall over to the right, you can take a deep breath there and then float the knees back up to center. And then you can hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice big hug. You might even stretch your nose up towards your knees. And then we'll bring the knees out wide, setting your head back down. You can walk your hands up to your ankles, maybe the knife edge of your foot. And just start to come into a happy baby pose. Spreading your knees towards your armpits. You might gently rock a little bit side to side. Maybe you fall onto one knee and extend the opposite leg long. Take a deep breath. And on your exhale, you can float over to the opposite knee and extend the opposite leg long. And then whenever you're ready, we'll come back to center and you can release your feet back onto the mat. And this time we'll float both knees over to the left and you can land the knees on the ground. And so you're coming into a bit of a twist. Go ahead and extend your right arm out to the right. And then with your next inhale, we'll float the right arm up and over, reach it towards the left fingertips. And then inhale, you can glide your arm back open or exhale, whatever the pace is of your own breath. So go ahead and relax into your twist. And then you might inhale to float the right arm up and over. Exhale as you close the palms. And then inhale to glide the right arm back open and exhale into your twist. If that feels good, you can take 2 more rounds just like this. And then after that next round, go ahead and bend into your elbows and interlace your fingers behind your head. You can use your thumbs to gently massage the base of the skull. And then we'll do a little bit of strengthening the obliques here. So you could either stay in this twist or with your next exhale, float your nose up towards the sky and then inhale to release. Exhale, pulse the nose up. Inhale to release. Go ahead and take a few more rounds on this side. Whenever you're ready, you can stop that action. Just allow yourself to relax into your twist. And then we'll release our fingers. And we're going to swivel the left hand up. So now it's parallel with the body. And you can roll entirely onto your left side. So you might either rest your head on your bicep, or you can bend your elbow and cradle your head onto your hand. So now you're on your side body and your knees are stacked. And we'll glue the heels together and inhale to lift the right knee, exhale to lower. So we're going to do a few rounds of clamshells on this side. You can follow the pace of whatever breath, however your breath is moving through the body. And just feel the activation of your outer hips, your glutes. And then when you're ready, we'll close that down. You can take a breath, take a moment, and then go ahead and glue your knees together and start to lift and lower your right heel away from the left. So now you could be feeling a different kind of sensation within the hips, different muscles working. And then when you're ready, we'll close that down. And then we're going to slide the knees back. So now the knees are parallel with the body instead of out in front. And then you can bring your right knee down in front of you and start to allow your right shoulder to melt back, cradling your head with your hand. And you might reach your right hand down to grasp hold of your left foot. You're coming into another variation of a twist. You could even rest your head on your bicep. Take a few nice deep breaths here. And whenever you're ready, we'll come out of this twist, just rolling onto your back. And once more, you can draw your knees in toward your chest. Give yourself a little hug. Maybe wrap your nose up towards your knees. Exhale to release. And you can lower your arms back down to the mat. Keep your knees up and hovering. So this time we're going to do a little bit of core work before we come on to our second side. So with your knees hovering, you're tacking your low back towards the mat, drawing your belly towards your spine, and then you can float the knees over to the right, but this time allow them to hover there. Inhale, bring them back to center, and exhale, hover them over to the left. Inhale them back to center, and you can keep this action going, oscillating gently from side to side, using the strength of your core. Go ahead and continue this. I'm going to be just switching around to the other side so that I'll be able to face you when we are ready for our twist. So the next time your knees fall over to the right, you can land them on the ground and come into your twist. Extend your arms out in the letter T shape. Go ahead and send your gaze over towards your left fingertips. Relax into your twist. We can do that same movement with the upper body. So with your next inhale, go ahead and float your left arm up towards the sky. And then exhale, reach the left hand towards the right. Inhale to glide the left arm back open. And then exhale to relax into your twist. And if that felt good on this side, you can take 3 more rounds like this. Inhale to float your arm up. Exhale to land it on the right hand. Inhale to glide the arm open. And exhale to gently relax into your twist. 2 more times, just like that. And then whenever you're ready, we can interlace the fingers behind the head. You might take a moment to interlace them the opposite way as before, just kind of changing up our habitual patterns. And then take a moment if you'd like to use your thumbs to massage the base of the skull. You can always stay here in your twist, or if you'd like to do a little strengthening of the obliques on your next exhale, go ahead and lift your nose up towards the sky and inhale to release. Exhale to pulse it up. Inhale to release. You can take a few more rounds just like this. Whenever you feel complete on this side, you can relax your hands out to your sides. And then we're going to spin that right hand up. So now it's underneath your head. And you can keep that hand extending long and rest your head on your bicep, or you can bend into your elbow and rest your head or rest your hand on your temple. With your knee or with your heels glued together, we'll begin to inhale to lift the left knee. Exhale to gently lower it. And go ahead and take a few rounds of clamshells on this side. Whenever you're ready, you can release this action, pause for a moment, and then we'll glue the knees together and begin to lift and lower the left heel away from the right. Whenever you're ready, we'll come back to stillness on this side. And then you can slide the knees back. So now the heels are kicked back at 90 degrees, but your knees are parallel with your body. And then we'll bring that left knee, the top knee, down to the ground in front of you. And then you can swivel your arm open. Maybe you rest your head on your right hand. And you might reach down with your left hand to grasp hold of your right foot. And if it doesn't quite reach, that's okay too. Just allow that left shoulder to fall open. Of course, it's not going to reach the mat, but you can just allow the heart to open and that left shoulder to sink back. Take one more nice deep breath in this twist. And then when you're ready, you can release the foot, roll onto the back, and then find center, lengthening through the spine. And you can hug the knees in towards the chest, and then just begin to rock and roll up and down the length of the spine. Whenever you're ready, you can rock up into a seat. And we'll bring the feet to touch, the knees open wide. You can extend your spine long. Take a nice deep inhale here. And then with your next exhale, allow yourself to hinge from your hips. Melt your heart forward. You can either leave your hands on your shins, or maybe you walk your hands out in front. You can leave the spine long, or you might begin to round forward. Take a nice deep breath here. And then with your next inhale, we'll walk the hands back to center. And you can come into a cross-legged position. And we'll bring the hands onto the knees. Take a moment to close down your eyes and just notice any sensations arising in the body. Allow your shoulders to melt away from your ears, lengthening through the spine and the crown of the head. And then you might take a moment to revisit your intention for your practice with gratitude. On the next inhale, we'll roll the shoulders up towards the ears, and then exhale, allow them to cascade down the back. Just take a few more rounds like this, rolling out the shoulders. You might exhale through the mouth, releasing any tension that's living in the shoulders. Maybe it would feel good to toggle one shoulder at a time. And then we're going to reverse the direction. So if you're toggling the shoulders, that's okay. You can continue your toggle. This time we'll reverse the direction, bringing the shoulders up from behind and down around in front. And then we'll sync up that action. So go ahead and draw the shoulder blades towards the back of the body, and then inhale to round them up towards the ears and exhale to round them down in front. So just a few more rounds like this. And then we'll come back to stillness. And you can allow your head to gently bow towards your heart. And with your next exhale, float your right ear over towards your right shoulder. Maybe you take a moment here in stillness, allowing the left shoulder to melt away from the ear. And then you can gently nod your head yes. And maybe gently shake your head no. Any other movements that might feel good on this side. And then once you come back to stillness, take one more nice deep breath. And then with your next exhale, you can allow the chin to trace the front of the chest. Take a nice deep breath. And with your next exhale, you can float your left ear over towards your left shoulder, lengthening on the right side of the neck. You might take a moment here in stillness and then find a little bit of movement, beginning to gently nod the head yes. And then maybe shaking the head no. And then finding any other movements here, maybe even taking a little gentle circle with the chin. And then when you're ready, we'll find stillness once more. Take a nice deep breath, and with your next exhale, you can gently bow the head once more towards the heart. And then we'll inhale to lift the gaze back to center. Let's come into hands and knees. So if you need more padding for your knees, you're always welcome to grab a blanket to stack underneath the knees. We'll come to tabletop with the palms underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips, and then you can inhale to drop the belly for cow pose. Exhale to round into the spine for cat. Go ahead and take a few rounds of cat and cow, following the pace of your own breath. Feel free to find any other movements here that might feel good. Some variations on your cat and cow. Maybe it feels good to make a big circle with the hips, sinking them around and back. If you're finding a circle in one direction, go ahead and reverse the direction when you're ready. Go ahead and take one more round of whatever movements you're making now. And then we'll walk the knees a little bit wider than hips distance. Bring the big toes to touch. Sink the hips back and walk the hands out in front for child's pose, lowering your forehead down towards the mat. Take a nice deep breath in child's pose, and you might exhale through the mouth, maybe even sticking out the tongue for lion's breath. Allowing any tension from the jaw or temples to release. Take a nice deep breath in your child's pose. And then we'll come back up to hands and knees when you're ready. And then you can float the left arm up towards the sky. And then with your next exhale, we'll go ahead and leave that left arm underneath the body, coming onto the left shoulder. Allow the left temple to rest. And you can continue to support your weight here with your right hand. Or another option would be to bring the right fingertips to rest on top of the left hand. So you're basically coming into a prayer pose, pressing your right hand on top of your left hand. Find any variations that work best for you. And then when you're ready, we'll bring that right hand back underneath the right shoulder, press into the mat, and we'll open up through the left side. On your next exhale, you can plant the left palm, and we'll inhale the right palm open. Exhale to thread the needle under, coming onto the right shoulder, allowing the right temple to rest. You can continue to support your weight here with your left hand, or you might bring your left hand on top of your right hand. Press the palms together and find some length and stretch through the shoulder. Take one more nice deep breath here. And then we'll bring the left palm underneath the shoulder, press into the mat as you open up through the right side. And then we'll meet up in tabletop, and we're going to come into a downward facing dog. So you might walk your hands a little forward and then tuck the toes under, lift the hips up and back, and find some stillness or movement in your downward facing dog. You might pedal the heels side to side, sashaying the hips a little bit side to side. And I'm just going to use blocks underneath my hands today for downward dog that can give a little bit more space. And then whenever you're ready, you can walk your feet to your hands or your hands to your feet. You might even bring the feet a little bit wider than hips distance and allow yourself to find a forward fold. If you have blocks, you can bring the blocks onto tall settings, or if you don't have blocks, you can rest your palms on your shins, and then we'll inhale to lift up halfway, pressing into the shins or the blocks, lengthening through the crown of the head to the tailbone. Exhale to forward fold, and then bending generously into your knees. You can inhale to roll your spine up one vertebrae at a time, and then we'll inhale to reach the arms up overhead and exhale to draw the hands to the heart center. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale to draw the hands to the heart center. And 1 more time like this. We're going to arrive into our mountain pose at the top of your mat. So if you're not completely at the top of your mat, you might step towards the top of your mat, give yourself space behind you. You can open your arms up with the palms face forward. Feel the legs rooting into the earth. Allow the shoulders to melt away from the ears. Imagine you have a seat belt across your belly, and you might just feel the activation of your core with your navel slightly drawing in, lowering your tailbone down towards the earth. Feeling yourself as a strong, steady mountain. And then you can bring your hands to your hips. We're going to step the right foot back. So you can lower that heel down and the toes will be at 45 degrees. And then go ahead and bend into the left knee. With your torso facing forward, whenever you're ready, you can inhale to float the arms up overhead and find warrior 1 pose. Allow the shoulders to melt away from the ears. Feel that light buoyancy from the belly button up and your rooted, strong legs from the belly button down. We're going to invite a little bit of flow here. So with your next exhale, you can swim your arms back and reach your torso forward. We'll inhale to rise to center. And 2 more times, you can exhale to float the torso forward, flying the hands back. Inhale to root to rise. Exhale, swim it forward with your hands floating back. And then we'll inhale to come back to warrior 1. On your next exhale, you can float the hands behind you and we'll interlace them at your low back. You could always use a strap here or maybe grasp hold of the edge of your shirt if it's hard to interlace your hands. And then with your next exhale, we're going to come into humble warrior. So as you exhale, you can lead with your heart. Allow your torso to rest on your thigh. Bow your head. And then you can leave your hands resting at your low back, or it might feel good to extend them long and allow the fingertips to fall overhead. Take a nice deep breath here. And with your next exhale, you can release your hands to your low back Bring your hands to your hips now, and then we'll inhale to rise to center and float the hands up for warrior one. On the next exhale, you can bring the hands back to the heart center, and then we'll lean forward and step the back foot forward to meet the left. And come into your mountain pose. Release your hands to your sides. Maybe take a moment to close down the eyes and check in with your breath. On the next inhale, float the arms up and overhead, and then exhale to swan dive forward. Inhale for halfway lift, pressing your palms on your shins or the blocks. And exhale to forward fold. Let's inhale to sweep the arms up and overhead, and exhale to draw the hands to the heart center. We're going to get ready for that warrior one flow on the second side. So you can bring your hands to your hips, and then we'll step the left foot back, coming into 45 degrees. Your legs are like on different rails of the train tracks, and you can bend into that right knee. And whenever you're ready, once you have a strong, steady base, you can inhale to float the arms up and overhead, allowing the shoulders to melt away from the ears. Feel that lightness and brightness as your heart is glowing up towards the sky. And on your next exhale, you can float the hands behind you as you reach the torso forward. Inhale to rise to center. Exhale, float the hands back and the torso forward. We'll inhale to rise to center. And one more time like this. And then once we arrive in our warrior one, you can float the hands behind you on your next exhale. This time you might interlace them the awkward way. So just thinking about changing up our habitual patterns. And then take a nice deep breath. And with your next exhale, allow your torso to rest on your thigh as you bow forward. You can release your head. Maybe sending your gaze back towards your back foot. And then maybe you extend your arms long, allowing your fingertips to fall overhead. Take a nice deep breath here. With your next exhale, you can float your hands back to your low back. Bring your hands to your hips. And then we'll root to rise, lifting the torso back up. And then when you're ready, you can float your arms up overhead to find warrior one. Take a nice deep breath here. With your next exhale, you can bring your hands to your heart center, and then we'll step the back foot forward to meet the right foot. And let's take a moment to shake it off. You can step your feet a little wider than hips distance and just allow your arms to gently graze your sides. And when you're ready, we'll come back to center. And while we're standing, we're going to do tree pose. So if you have if you want some support with balance, like I have this tabletop close by or a chair, you can always use that. And so we're going to come into an equal standing. So come into your mountain pose. You can bring your palms facing forward. Then you might bring your hands to your hips for a little more stability. Start to bend into your right knee and root down through your left leg. So you're going to bend into the ball of the toes, and then you can open the right knee out to the right, and you might just bring the heel against your shin. And then you can either place the foot right below the knee, or you might reach down with your right hand, grasp hold of your ankle, and step the foot on the inner thigh. Find a soft gaze, a drishti, a place of focus, maybe on the ground or at the horizon, to help you balance. And then you can invite your hands to meet at your heart center. You might bring that intention back to mind and imagine it like a seed planted in between your palms. And then you can open your 3 middle fingers into a lotus mudra. And with your next inhale, you might grow your tree limbs, your lotus flower, up towards the sky. And you can reach your arms up overhead. Take a nice deep breath here. And then with your next inhale, you can float the knee back up to parallel with the floor, and then step the foot down. And once more, we'll release the hands, step the feet wide, and shake it off. And then we'll come back to center, getting ready for the other side. So let's come into our mountain pose. You can bring your palms face forward. You can bring your hands to your hips if you like, and then start to root down through your right leg. Oh wait, did we do that side already? Now I forgot which side we did because I think my camera's turned. Yeah, I think we're on the left side. So we're gonna root down through the right leg, peel your left heel off of the mat. And then you can open the left knee out to the left, and you might just kickstand your foot against your ankle. Or maybe you plant the left heel onto the right leg, onto the right calf, I should say, right below the knee, or you can walk the foot above the knee. And then once more, we'll invite the hands to meet at the heart center. You can invite that intention back to the center of the palms, and then open your 3 middle fingers into a lotus mudra. And then with your next inhale breath, you can grow your arms tall, reaching your tree limbs up towards the light. Take a nice deep breath in your tree. And then we'll bring that left knee back to center. Step the left foot out to the side. Bring the arms down. And once more, you can allow that to shake off. Next, we're going to be coming onto our backs, and we're going to be moving towards Shavasana, our final resting pose. But there's a few more things I'd like to do on our back, namely figure 4. So I was mentioning before class started that if you have a wall space or a couch, can be really nice and helpful for figure 4. Even a strap could be helpful. So if you have something you can use as a strap, you might grab that. But if you have a wall space or a couch nearby, what I like to do with the couch is just shimmy right up to the couch so that your legs can rest on the couch cushion and your back can rest on the floor. So to use the couch to help support you in figure 4, you can bring your left ankle onto your right knee And then start to glide that right leg back. So just the foot is resting on the edge of the couch. And you would do the same thing if you were at the wall. You could extend your right leg up the wall and then bring your left ankle onto the thigh, the right thigh, and just use that leverage of the wall. And what's nice about this is then you don't have to interlace your hands behind the back of your leg, causing all of that tension for your upper body. So you can still get that nice stretch through your left hip in your figure 4 pose. So allow yourself to fully relax, sending some nice deep breaths into the left hip. And if you'd like to deepen the stretch at all, you can kind of flex your left toes towards your left knee and press that left knee away from the body, either energetically or you can even physically press it away. And that's sort of what happens when you interlace your hands behind your right thigh or grasp hold of the sides of your pant legs. Take a nice deep breath in your figure 4 pose. And then whenever you're ready to switch sides, you can either rest your legs up the wall or onto the couch. And then we'll bring the right ankle to rest on top of the left thigh. And you can slide that left leg back so that your foot is right at the edge of the couch cushion or right up against the wall. Of course, if you had a strap, I forgot to mention, if you didn't have a couch or a wall, you could always weave the strap behind the back of the left thigh. You could also use a little hand towel instead of a strap, or maybe the tie of a bathrobe. If you'd like to deepen the stretch on the outer right hip, you can start to flex your right toes towards your knee and press that right knee away from the body. So find whatever works for you, and just also notice this is very similar to a pigeon pose. So if you prefer pigeon, of course, you can choose your own adventure in this yoga class. Send some nice deep breaths to any areas of sensation. And if there were any other last shapes you'd like to take before your final rest, you're welcome to take those now. Some gentle inversions could be even just resting with your legs up the wall or resting on the couch. Maybe you take a pillow or a block and slide it underneath the sacrum just for a little more height. Just changing the flow of gravity in the body. So find whatever additional shapes you'd like to make. And then you can invite yourself to find Shavasana. Maybe it would feel good to cozy up with a blanket or a pillow. And just allow yourself a time to rest. Of course, if you prefer a seated meditation for your final rest, that's fine too. And I'll close down class with a few more quotes about our theme today, Svadhyaya, self-study. The power of the witness to distance ourselves from ourselves is how we begin to see how we have made up our realities. And paradoxically, it is how our belief systems begin to lose its power over us. The witness is our ability to watch ourselves act and respond. It is our ability to watch our thoughts, our emotional disturbances. This ability is what gives us clues to our matrix of belief systems. It is how we know ourselves and the stories that run us. The witness is our ability to watch the ego rather than identify with it. The profoundness of this watching is what we begin to know, is that the profoundness of this watching is that we begin to know ourselves as something different than who we thought we were. It is this ability to watch that begins to bring healing to our lives. Seeing our conditioning is the victory. Knowing that we aren't who we thought we were begins to open up the possibility of knowing our true self. Meditation is an important aspect of self-study. It is a place where we grow the witness, recognize our belief systems, and begin to shift our identity. Engaging curiosity in the beginner's mind, knowing that we don't know, helps us step outside of our neatly wrapped boxes. As we shift our attention to the God self within, the boxes of belief systems begin to fall away and we become free. We'll take a few more moments here in our final resting pose. You can allow yourself to really relax into the strength of the earth, softening all of your effort from your jaw, smoothing out your eyelids, allowing your shoulders to melt down towards the ground. You can give yourself this time of rest. And because you are in your own space, you might decide to rest here for longer in your sweet final resting pose, Shavasana, if you have the time. And if you're ready to reawaken the body, you can begin to start to bring some movement into your fingers and toes, rotating gently your wrists and your ankles. Take a moment to stretch your arms over your head, finding a long body stretch, and then gently roll onto one side, coming into a fetal position. You can rest there for 2 more rounds of breath, and then whenever you're ready, you can press yourself up into a seat. Allow your hands to gently meet at your heart center. You can bow your head towards the wisdom of your loving heart. It's such an honor and a privilege to have this opportunity to guide you through your own practice this morning. Thank you so much for being here today. Namaste. Which means the divine light in me sees and honors the divine light in you.